Hey everybody, it is time once again for another Rahdo Q&A. And hello everybody, I'm about to answer a bunch of questions submitted by folks like you to the email address questions@rahdo.com. And by all means folks, if anything I talk about or my wife talks about, because she sometimes shows up on these as well, prompts any further questions from you, well you know what to do. Questions@rahdo.com is the email address. Keep them coming, folks. I want to hear your cues so I can am. And speaking of which, let's get right to it. But, folks, I'm going to talk about several different topics today, and if any of them don't really strike your fancy, don't worry. There are links down in the show notes that let you jump around from question to question so you can listen to just the parts you're interested in. All right, sound good? Then let's go. Okay, everybody, let's get going. So many questions this month. Wish me luck. We're starting out with Dieter, who has 10 board gaming related questions for me. This is a follow-up. I think Dieter did this last time too. And it's awesome. Dieter, keep them coming. You're making it easy for me to generate content for all the nice folks. So let's get going. Number one, what is my most played board game of the last 10 years? I am going to be willing to pretty safely bet that that is Gloomhaven. There was, for almost a year, Jen and I would play every Sunday, no matter what else was going on in our lives. We'd sit down and play another session of Gloomhaven, and often we'd do one and then do another. Or we'd leave the game set up and finish on Monday what we had started on Sunday, if it was a particularly long one. And we've actually finished the entire Gloomhaven. I haven't played every single mission in the original Gloomhaven, but we have finished the entire storyline. And we've done, I don't know, like half a dozen from Jaws of the Lion as well, and a little bit of the other expansion, Circles, something or other. And so, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Gloomhaven. Nothing even comes close to second to that. What is my most played expansion for a board game for the last 10 years? That is tougher. The last 10 years, let's see. Well, it's really going to be a game. What game have we played the most that that we always throw the expansion in the box? And that's not going to be Gloomhaven. My bet is it's almost guaranteed. Well, see, 10 years. 10 years. If you said 12 or 13 years, it's easy. It would be Agricola, Farmers of the Moor. Because Agricola is one of the games we have played most over our entire time. But we were playing Agricola a lot before I started Rahdo Runs Through. So since Rahdo Runs Through, what game have we played the most? The games other than Gloomhaven that we played a lot since doing Rahdo Runs Through tend to be campaign games. And our legacy games and whatnot that we play all the way through. And of course, those tend not to have expansions as well. Probably. I'm just trying to think. And I'm at a real disadvantage today, folks, because I have discovered that I cannot reliably record using OBS and that webcam and this little laptop right here if I've got a browser running at the same time that I've got OBS running. Normally, I really lean on Chrome a lot to look things up while I'm recording the podcast. Tell you what, how about Boardgame? This is going to be painful. How about I use my phone here? What do I need to look up? I just need to look up games.rahdo.com. Alrighty. So, this is going to take a little bit for the phone to open that up. That's just a list of all the games I've got. So, looking through, all right, which game have I played a lot of over the last 10 years? Because, of course, the reality of Rahdo Runs Through is I don't get to play any game a lot. I play a game a few times, film a run through, and then move on to the next thing. It's very rare that we come back and revisit. And if we do come back and revisit games, because, there's a new expansion. But then we'll just play the expansion a time or two, do coverage for it, and then move on. So we have to be talking about a game that I'd play a bunch, but with the same expansion over and over again. And it almost doesn't exist, quite frankly. Again, if you'd said 15 years, the answer would be super easy. It would be Agricola, Farmers of the Moor, because Agricola is probably in my top 5 most played games of all time. I'm not finding anything here. I guess maybe I'll say Shadowrun Crossfire, the expansion that came out for it, because there was a while where we were playing Shadowrun Crossfire a lot, even though, quote, I didn't need to for the channel. I can't say Dominion because I've played a bunch of expansions for Dominion, but no one of them a bunch of times. I can tell you the one I'd like to. And that would be the Maracaibo Uprising. If there was one expansion I could go back and visit over and over again, I would love to play more Maracaibo in general, but the Uprising expansion makes everything so much better. So I'd be inclined to say that one. But yeah, you've stumped me, Dieter. I can't answer that one. So we'll just move on to the third one so I don't just keep waffling. I said a long time ago that I think the rating system of Boardgame Geek does not work. If the boss of Boardgame Geek would ask me to change the whole ranking system, what would I do to make it better for everybody? If Scott Alden asked me to change it, and he would actually make the changes, I think my preference, well, a simple thing would be a 1 to 5 scale instead of a 1 to 10 scale, because a 1 to 10 scale is way over the top granular in a way that isn't necessary. 5 stars is infinitely superior to 10 stars because if you need variety, you've got, 0.5s you could throw in there. But for me personally, I think of everything in a 1 to 5 star scale. 1, hate it. 2, it's okay. 3, it's good. 4, it's great. 5, it's transcendent. And I think that's how everybody thinks. But everybody tries to squeeze that system into a 10 star. So anything below 5, we have 1 through 6 is garbage. And we don't need that level of granularity for, a 1. What's the difference between a 1 and a 3? It's a pointless, meaningless distinction. So right off the bat, I would make it, if nothing else, a 1 to 5 star scale instead of a 1 to 10 star scale. But even still, that's not what I'd really do. What I would like is make it more text-based rather than number-based. If you want to rank a game that you love, like Maracaibo, or Agricola, or Gloomhaven, and you say I'm going to rank it, you don't just give it a star scale. You instead push the button and it gives you a series of choices. Text choices. So that everybody's ranking the same way. Because to me, that's the biggest problem with Boardgame Geek is, okay, leave it as a 10-star scale. Leave it as completely arbitrary and everybody can do whatever they want. But there is a guideline for Boardgame Geek that says the rankings are what a 1 is and a 5 is and a 10 is. And it's completely inconsistent within its own internal methodology because it says every ranking level has 2 functions. How good do I think the game is objectively? Or subjectively, but subjectively, how good do I think the game is? And at the same time, how often would I be willing to play it? And you're supposed to apply both of those to each level, and they're completely inconsistent because often I'll think a game is great, but I refuse to play it. So does that mean I should rank it a 1 because I refuse to play it? No, I should rank it an 8 because I think it's brilliant. But it says, I think it's brilliant, and I'll keep playing it for the rest of my life. That's what an 8 is. So it's fundamentally broken because of that reason. Pick a lane, one or the other. Say the official rules for 1 to 10 are how good I think it is or how often I need to play. Not both, because the 2 things are not simpatico at all. Now, here's the deal. Most people don't even know that's there. I appreciate that. And I think that's the other big problem is when I go to rank something, there is no list that I can see right there that says, right, what should I, if I consider the game as this, what should I give it? And not that we can guarantee that everybody would follow the rules. There's still always going to be jerks who give things a 1 because they don't like the designer, or give things a 10 because they are trying to counteract the people who give things a 1. Never mind the fact that all the 1s and all the 10s are thrown out anyway, effectively, statistically. So you're just, it's just absurdity that people do that, and there's no stopping it. But at the very least, I think the best thing would be don't give people numbers. When they want to go to rank something, say, there is a list of options, that are very specific. And it could be 5, could be 10, I don't know. Or maybe it's a series of things. Do I never want to play the game? How good do I think the game is? I'd like it to reflect more that I can respect a game being phenomenal even if I personally don't like it. Currently, based on the current system, that means I have to give it a low ranking, and that's not true because I think the game is brilliant. And I would like the system to account for that. And I think the best way to account for that is that people don't rank things on a 1 to 5 or a 1 to 10 star scale. They rank things on a list of choices. I like this, I like that, I like the other. I've played it a lot, I haven't played it a lot. And then behind the scenes, it comes up with a proper, consistent numerical value based on, I said, you know what, and I'm not quite sure what it would be. I'd have to think about it a lot. But I think it would be much better if people answered a quick series of 1 or 2 questions. Do I want to play this game a lot? Yes or no? Or how often do I want to play this game? I'd like to play this game every week. I'd like to play this game once or twice and never play it again. I would refuse to play this game. That's one question. The other question is, how good do you think the game is? And really, and again, not numbers, but a consistent thing where everybody answers the same question. People will still abuse it, but I think they'd be less inclined to, and there'd be less accidental abuse if everybody was answering the same questions. I don't know what those questions are. Like I said, I'd have to think about it a lot, but I think that would be infinitely superior. 4. What is my favorite complexity rating weight for a board game? From Board Game Geek, light is 1, medium light is 2, medium is heavy, medium heavy is 3, and heavy is 4. Or medium heavy is 4 and heavy is 5. First of all, that's not quite true. Pretty much anything over a 4 is crazy, ridiculously heavy. And that's a problem with these number systems. Very few games actually get to the pure, perfect perfection, a 10 out of 10 or a 5 out of 5 weight. And the reality is, because people are just all over the place in ranking it, 4 and above is really heavy. 3 and above is medium heavy. 2 and above is light to medium, somewhere in there. And below 2 is light. Again, it's the failure of numbers. So I'm going to ignore your numbers. I'm just going to say, do I prefer light, medium, medium heavy, or heavy? Well, you gave medium a 3, so I'm going to say 3. I bet you anything, though, if you were to look at my preferred games, most of the games I consider medium end up falling in the 2.7 to 3.1 range, not the perfect 3. And again, that's the fundamental problem with the ranking system as it exists right now. People should not be, if I want to rank the heaviness of a game, I shouldn't do it on a 1 to 5 star scale. If nothing else, it should be words. I should say light, medium to light, medium, just even using words. So people, because it shouldn't be 5. It should be so ridiculously complex and brain burny that it will make the smartest person in human history melt down. That's what a 5 is, because it doesn't exist. But lots of people give games 5s. So that's why I think you would be much better off, even though 5, strictly speaking, nothing with the way it averages out numbers ever comes close to a 5. Or I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Once you've got, over 50 people rating a thing. So that, again, is the problem. So I reject the number, and instead I'll say I prefer medium weight games, and based on what that means to me. 5. If I could choose any of the following jobs, which would I choose? Rank them from most to least fun. Okay. The big boss of Board Game Geek, the big boss of Stonemaier Games, the big boss of Dice Tower, and the big boss of the Spiel Convention. Ha! Most fun to least fun. None of these jobs are fun. But I would think, well, okay, you said based on fun. Rate on which job would I want the most? Probably big box of Stonemaier, because I'd make the most money. Jamie, congratulations, he has totally earned it. He is one of the few people who has made it rich in the board game industry. I don't know. I have no insight into Jamie Stegmaier's financial situation, but considering how well Wingspan and Scythe have sold, yeah, he's doing pretty well. I would like to be doing that well. But you didn't ask based on, what financial stuff. So based on fun. Actually, I would probably put Jamie's job at the bottom. I do not want to be a board game developer, because one of the things that is required to do that is to play a given game hundreds of times. And all throughout the production, I was a video game developer for almost 20 years. I know what that did, how that destroyed my love of video games, even though I was playing video games in the early 70s. Pong, my whole life, video games defined a big part of what I loved. And making video games for 20 years killed my love of it. So I would not want to do Jamie's job. I would put it at the bottom for the fun factor. Boy. Here's the deal. The more people that work for you, the less good your job is. Quite frankly, I know this from personal experience. For all my frustrations doing Rahdo runs through, it is the best job I've ever had. And it's not as good now that I actually have people working for me. It was better when I was just doing it myself, because as soon as you have people working for you, as soon as you have that extra level of responsibility for somebody else's livelihood, that just raises the stakes so high. So, which of those would I have the smallest team? I suspect. I'm going to say probably second worst would be the Spiel convention. Because I don't even know what's involved with that, but man, there is so much potential to go wrong there. Yeah, I'm just even the thought of it. Actually, I might even put that. I'd rather be a game developer. I'd rather be the boss of Stonemaier Games than the Spiel convention. So I'll put that at the bottom. Even though, for all I know, hey, for 8 months out of the year, you don't have to do much. Maybe, I don't know. I don't care. Just the fact that there are such high stakes with that. The stress must be through the roof. Dealing with all the different the venue and the publishers and the attendees and crime, theft, and, trying to expand and, responding to, oh my God, it would just be a nightmare. And then Stonemaier, the second worst. So, Dice Tower or Board Game Geek? Honestly, I would not want any of these jobs. I would hate to have Tom's job. Tom's job is like my job on steroids, because he actually works in the studio. He knows that if things aren't going well, how much it directly hurts Z Garcia or anybody else, because it's his job to keep all those people employed and successful and fulfilled. That's so much pressure. At least everybody who works on my channel are contractors, right? As opposed to full-time employees. Are the people of Dice Tower, are they salary employees? I don't know. Anyway. And I know, I can imagine how miserable it must be for Scott Alden to constantly, wow. The more I think about any one of these jobs, I want to put him at the bottom of the list. Because Scott has to deal with, I think how much negativity I have to deal with my little channel, with people constantly grousing in the comments and, posting everywhere on Board Game Geek and Reddit and on my comments about how I'm an evil, corrupt shill. And just that nonstop wave of negativity drags it down so much for me. And it's so inconsequential to how much negativity Scott has to deal with. I can't even imagine how bad that must be to just, something that I'm proud of, something that I poured my heart and soul into for over a decade, for a couple of decades now? How long is Board Game Geek around? And yet it to constantly be vilified by the people who use it more. Now I want to put that at the bottom of the list. And again, I know Tom gets it too. Honestly, I don't want any of these jobs. They're all terrible. They're all terrible for a variety of reasons. So maybe, at the very least, God, am I now going to put Stonemaier at the top of the list? Because I'm sure, Jamie has to wade through an endless sea of negativity, but he also gets so much positivity, whereas very few people stand on a soapbox about how amazing Board Game Geek is. And by the way, in spite of everything I just said before, Board Game Geek is amazing. It's one of the best sites, one of the best run sites, one of the most important sites. It is a high watermark for the entire internet. The way it handles its policies, and I respect the heck out of it. I just want to say that for the record, and it doesn't get said enough. So I don't want any of these jobs. I guess in spite, and I don't, for different reasons, I'll say Stonemaier, the one I hate the least, probably Dice Tower, then probably Board Game Geek, and then probably Spiel. That's the order I'll do it in. But man, I don't want any of those jobs. I don't envy any of these folks, those jobs. And all of them, Tom Vassell, Jamie Stegmaier, Scott Alden, and whoever it is that runs Spiel, they deserve more positivity from us. Because they work hard to make our lives better, and all they get is just endless wave of negativity because the internet sucks and the internet brings out the worst in people, and these are all predominantly internet-centric businesses. Heck, maybe Spiel should climb higher on the list because it's something real and tangible, and it's as far away from the internet. Yeah, I'm going to put Spiel at the top of the list now because it means I don't have to pay as much attention to the internet anymore. Let's go with that. The longer I talk about this, the more I'll just keep on shuffling things around. Alrighty, number 6. If I should binge play a board game with Jen 50 times in the upcoming month, which would I choose and why? Ooh, 50. 50. 50 times. That is multiple times a day. Ha! Well, that is a big number, and for that reason, it's going to be a small game. Because, I mentioned earlier, I would love to spend more time playing Maracaibo with the Uprising expansion, but that's a 2-hour plus game. I'm not going to be playing that multiple times a day, every single day. This has to be a game that can hold up to that kind of insane replay.
Escape.
No. Jen just shouted escape Curse of the Temple. Well, it's a good argument to be made today because it's a 10-minute game. And so, hey, for that reason, and there is so much expansion content there. Maybe. That's actually, I dismissed it offhand, but the more I think about it, that's actually a good choice. I have to admit, my gut feeling was Jump Drive. Jump Drive. Because the Terminal Velocity expansion puts so much replayability in that game. It's a 15-minute game. It's got an amazing solo campaign mode, so I can get more play out of it there. And recently, the designer, Tom Lehman, has come up with cooperative rules as well. So I think my gut feeling is probably Jump Drive. But whatever it's going to be a game that takes less than 20 minutes. So Shadowrun Crossfire would be another great potential one as well. Alrighty, that's a good one. 7. Have I ever sold a board game and years later bought it again because I regretted selling it? What game was it? That has definitely happened. Definitely. But... has it. Actually, the only game I can think of that I went back and got again, that I got. No. Has it happened? Okay. Normally I would go to Chrome and it would help me write. Okay, but I'm just going to have to try and use this. This is a list of all my games. Any that I got rid of that I went and got back after the fact. I don't think that is the case. I don't think that's ever happened. That I've gone out and bought it again. Ooh, Jen says it has happened. What, Honey Pie?
Just bought it for this trip, remember?
What?
This trip, we bought it from Amazon.
Oh, Jen's referring to Stefan Feld game, Maracaibo. Maracaibo? No, not Maracaibo. Marrakesh. And that's true. I did get rid of Marrakesh. See, I don't consider that, though, because they sent me an updated copy. And you're right, I have since bought a copy of it myself because it's weird. The publisher sent me, while we were on the road, the expansion for the game. And if they told me they were doing that, I would have brought my copy with us so we could play it. But they didn't. So I had to go buy a copy of it. But that's not Dieter's question. It is a good point, though. I probably would have gone out and bought it, but they sent me one. I didn't regret selling it. It's the fact that there was a problem with the game, and the publisher fixed the problem with the game, and so I went back out and got it. I think the tenor of this question is, yeah, I got rid of this game because I was unhappy with it, and I regretted that mistake. Well, I mean, I guess Maracaibo kind of, but I'm trying to think of one that I regretted selling. So that's the thing. In the case of Marrakesh, I did not regret it because the game was fundamentally broken as far as I was concerned, and I was doing the right thing. And when they fixed it, they basically gave me a different game with it fixed, with the tower fixed, and it was a different game. So, I mean, yeah. So a game that doesn't change, that stays the same, and I'm thinking, boy, I really should go back. I just don't think that's happened. I'm literally looking through the 400 or so games right here, and I don't think that's happened. Now, let me expand that though a little bit though. I am going to very painfully and slowly open a new tab, and then I'm going to go to gone.rahdo.com. Alrighty, and it's opening that up. That's going to take a little while, which would be much easier to do if I could use my browser, but I can't. I'm looking at games that I've gotten rid of. And do I regret any of those? Because I'm sure I do. Oh, right off the top there's Imperium. I regretted that the moment I got rid of it. But it was too cutthroat for me and Jen. Here's the deal. I'm interested in getting it again because the New Horizons things makes it less cutthroat retroactively. But again, that's because the game changed, not because my attitude about it changed. Are there any games on this list that I feel like I should go back and get? This would be a great top 10 topic, quite frankly. But I think it'd be tough for me because, generally speaking, I'm pretty confident in my decisions. No, I've got a couple. But again, it's not me regretting it. It's regretting it because retroactively, I didn't appreciate how much Jen. I mean, just last year, we had Forest Shuffle. We had Far Away. 2 games that Jen, after I got rid of them, said, oh yeah, those are 5 out of 5s. Those are near perfects. I love those games. I would want to keep forever. I'm like, oops. Don't tell Jen I did that. But that's not regret on my part. That is regret because I misjudged Jen's love of them. And don't get me wrong, I thought they were both great too. And for both of those, I probably would have kept them, but the Dice Tower West Library needed them. And so, at this point, I supply probably 5% of all the games in the Dice Tower West Library. And so they needed those games, so I went ahead and got rid of them. And Jen did not care for that. I mean, I look at some of these games, and I got rid of them, well, several of them because of the Dice Tower West Library, like my copy of Federation, my copy of where did it just go? Oh, Beer and Bread. I love that game, but they needed it for their hot games room, so I donated mine. Yeah, I just don't think it happens much. Not for the there's weird esoteric reasons, but not for the reason you're suggesting, because I understand the tenor of the question. The spirit of the question is, I made a mistake, and I need to go back and I need to get that game again. And I just don't think it happens very often. Because I guess I'm saying I don't make mistakes. And of course, we know that's wrong. Alrighty, number 8. If I could invite anyone to join the Rahdo crew to make Rahdo runs through, who would I choose? Wow. Ooh.
Keanu Reeves.
Jen says Keanu Reeves. But no. Whoa. First name that pops into my head is Jason from the One Stop Co-op Shop. He does amazing run-throughs there, and I absolutely love him to death. And he's got a broader, Jason, but also Toki Table Talk Toki. She's phenomenal as well. She doesn't generally do, but I have seen her play through games, and I think she could totally do it. And I just love her channel. But heck, Becca Scott. Jeez Louise. That'd be amazing, but I'm sure she's too expensive for me. I'm going to boils right down to it. So I'm going to go with one of those. Yeah, that's off the top of my head. Which board game is the most fun to teach to someone else and why? Party games, of course, because they have just implicit fun factor. Because they're simple to teach. But that's too easy an answer. You know, just some silly party game that makes people laugh, and then surprise, it turns out to be really good, right? So, let's talk about real, games I love that is fun to teach. What is fun to teach? That is a weird metric I've never really thought of before. Okay, it's still got to be something. Again, I'm going for full games, not just quick little simple party games. Honestly, again, I'm looking at my list of games, and Pandemic is right there at the top. And I think Pandemic's it's simple, it's clean, it's the more thematically grounded the game is, the more fun it's going to be to teach because it's more about just telling a story.
How about Charterstone?
Jen says, how about Charterstone? Charterstone is Jen's answer for everything, and I would not think that's a particularly fun game to teach.
I think it is because you're involved in everything.
I don't. Is your microphone on, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh, apparently Jen's microphone's been on this whole time. Jen was just out walking the dogs. I did not realize you could hear her, folks.
Well, no, it's not been on my body, though.
Oh, she just picked it up as she came in. I kind of want to say roll camera because that one has a real sense of fun to it too. And I said another thing. So I think I'm more drawn towards cooperative games. Forbidden Desert, I think, is fun to teach because of the physicality of it, because the way the stuff stacks and climbs. Project Elite, I think that's another one too. Yeah. So it's going to be something that's incredibly thematic, is going to be cooperative, and there's a few options for what it could be. And then Dieter's last question, rapid fire. Have I ever had to quit a game because I got mad about something or someone? What was the reason? What game was it? I'm mad. Mad at someone. I don't think that's happened. I have come close once. And that was with Jason Levine, the gaming machine. And that was Princes of Florence, I want to say. Is that the right one? That old... Because he was just getting... He was getting too into it. And I felt like, Jason, chill. Calm down, man. But I was playing with him and his friends. And all of his friends were used to it. And I thought... And it was just me. So everybody said, no, it's cool. Jason's just like this. It's fine. So I kept going. I have finished. There have been games I've stopped playing because the design makes me so angry that because of. There were several times as we were playing through Ticket to Ride, Legends of the West, that I was this close to just quitting because it just made me so furious. The design decisions in that game, and at the same time, there was something else we did play. What was it?
Bob Ross.
Yes, Bob Ross. The Art of Chill, that one made me so angry because I was so... Oh, by the way, I just noticed Jen has been on screen the whole time. She shouldn't have been because we're not in the Jen portion, although Jen did just show up. Sorry about that, folks. Jen will be on the podcast for her questions a little bit later. But apparently she's just hovering around and had some stuff to throw in. And you're right, Bob Ross made me so angry that I couldn't even finish the game. And it's a short game. So that would be one. Okay. Right. Then we are going to move on to George. And that will be the end of this session of the Rahdo Q&A. Thank you, folks, for watching and also for submitting your questions. Send me more to the email address questions@rahdo.com, and I'll get you covered in a future episode. And in the meantime, if you would like to hear some more, you're in luck. I have been doing the Rahdo Talks Through audio podcast for years now with my wife, Jen, and we have got hundreds of hours for you to enjoy. You can hit that big box that's on screen right now if you want to dive deep. Also, you can go on ahead and subscribe so you won't miss the next Rahdo Q&A. And thank you, folks, for watching, for listening. Have a very, very nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.